I do not like having to say I told you so, but I expressed serious concern back in April about RFK Jr., Brooke Rollins, and Donald Trump's decision to stop quality testing milk that our children drink in the United States of America. I said, this is a reactionary regime. They are regressing America. They are taking us back to the days of the swill milk scandal, in which our milk was not tested and our children drank milk adulterated with blood, pus, plaster of Paris, formaldehyde, chalk, urea, and tens of thousands of children in the United States died as a result. Y'all, during the swill milk scandal, 1/2 of all children in New York died before age 5, and the number one cause was adulterated milk. And that's what Trump and RFK Jr. and the FDA decided was acceptable, because they stopped screening milk in this country for adulterants and pathogens back in April. And I said people were going to be sickened and people were going to die as a result. I have also spoken extensively about the raw milk to alt-right pipeline and how moms feeding their children raw milk is incredibly dangerous for their health. And also, it's not a dog whistle to the alt-right. It's virtue signaling amongst crunchy moms on the right. It's a way that you communicate to other moms hey, I'm in your group. You make a big fucking to-do of feeding your children raw milk. Again, I've talked about that extensively. I am not happy to be proven right about either of these two issues, but we are now hearing that there is an outbreak of E. coli and Campylobacter contaminated milk that has sickened at least 21 people in Florida. The Florida Department of Health is telling us that all 21 of those individuals consumed raw milk from the same farm, and 6 of the victims are under the age of 10. And I do intentionally use that word victim because those children have had their health and their lives put at risk intentionally by folks who are irresponsible enough to sell raw milk, and their maha parents who are giving it to children to consume. Now, the Florida Health Department has not told us what these serious consequences are that some of these folks are experiencing, but Campylobacter infections cause nausea, severe vomiting and diarrhea, fever, joint pain, blood in the stool, significant belly pain, right? It's just it's pure suffering for children, but there also can be greater consequences such as seizures, going septic. And we should all know by now, including the parents that are giving their children this raw milk, that pathogenic E. coli can be deadly. We're not just talking fever, malaise, diarrhea. We're talking kidney damage, pneumonia, sepsis, and death. Especially for small children, pathogenic E. coli is extremely dangerous. And I would like to point out that even if these children survive, they may face lasting health consequences, and they experienced needless suffering. Now, I imagine this farm is going to get in a lot of trouble because in Florida, you can only sell raw milk for pet or animal food consumption. It is deemed unfit for human consumption. That has not stopped crunchy alt-right folks for a long time, more than 20 years, from doing what's called a cow share, where you help pay for the food and the care of that cow, and then the farmer gives you a share of the milk. That's how they skirt these food laws and health and safety regulations. Y'all, even Fox News Florida is talking about how this uptick in drinking raw milk in recent years is connected to RFK's Make America Healthy Again movement, which is an alt-right eugenicist movement based in pseudoscience, junk science, complete nonsense, and conspiracy theories. Of course, for some reason, the Florida Health Department felt the need, after explaining that these kids had been sickened by drinking raw milk, they felt the need to say many people consume raw milk safely. I would like to know the folks from the Florida Health Department who made that statement. I would love to know what their politics are, because it sure sounds like a nurse spouting anti-vax propaganda to hear somebody from the health department being like, raw milk is totally fine, while they are talking about children who are in the hospital with severe complications from this E. coli and Campylobacter dual infection that they got from consuming raw milk from a farm that had their milk contaminated with cow feces. I am not saying there are not safe sources of raw milk, because there are dairies in the United States that are certified to safely produce raw milk, except under the new FDA rules, Who knows? Because they're no longer inspecting any milk that is being produced in the United States. They have cut the safety protocol in the name of making America great again and saving money. They are risking the health of our children. I understand that this incident came from a farm who should not have been selling their milk for human consumption, but please understand that there is now a safety risk from every source of milk in this country. Because the FDA is no longer requiring safety testing, we don't actually know what milk is adulterated and what milk is carrying pathogens. And it's not just milk either. We know that the FDA back in April suspended testing for things like bird flu in milk and cheese, as well as other pathogens like cyclospora, etc., in all sorts of food products. They are regressing us in this country. They are making us less safe, more exposed to illness, the things our taxpayer dollars should be funding to protect the public health. Yeah, none of that is happening. That money is being funneled straight into the pockets of billionaires. We no longer have a government that is functioning of, by, and for the people. None of this is serving the public interest, the public health. It is making us weaker and sicker. It is absolutely a symptom of not only the fact that we are in a government experiencing leadership from a kakistocracy, which is where the least qualified people are in charge of everything, but it is also further evidence that we are being run by a eugenicist regime that has no interest in protecting your health at all. They have no interest in keeping you safe. They have no interest in using your tax money to create a functional society that benefits you and me and our children. What they want is to take all of our taxpayer money and give it to the billionaires and wreck everything in this country that makes America a functional society. They want you weak and sick and hungry and easier to control. They want to make it as hard as possible for you to resist. And they certainly do not want a functional government. I'm so angry about this story, not only for the ways that our government has for many months been making us less safe, especially making our children less safe, but also because a conspiracy theory eugenicist, RFK, is running our health and human services, and all of his acolytes in the MAHA movement are risking the health of their children on a daily basis by performing these rituals like feeding their kids raw milk, when there is no health benefit to feeding your kids raw milk and there are tremendous health risks. The Trump regime, with the help of RFK Jr. and Brooke Rollins of the USDA, they are taking us backwards as a nation. They are costing us decades of progress. They are regressing us. They are making us actively less safe, less healthy. Nothing about what they're doing is making America great again.